I think I probably align more with like Buddhism. I think
Yeah.
I try to take the bits of across multiple different faiths that I find align with me. If there is a God, then he would be all loving. I can't say that one religion is correct and another one is not, because they're all right in their own way. I quite like the idea of no certainty and the unknown. I think that makes it more reassuring and I'm able to, or maybe other people are able to then explore different ideas because of not having that certainty.
Hey, just spoke to a gentleman who shows some interest in Buddhism. Not overly, I think some spirituality is something that he obviously respects and seeks, but not a tremendous depth in his seeking. And I've tried to can just encourage him in the end to consider the claims of the religions, consider the truth aspects, consider the soul really. Where is our soul going to ultimately go? These things are important questions, and we need to kind of get certainty around some that he believed. Otherwise, he believed the lack of certainty is fine, curiosity is fine, and some element of lack of certainty gives comfort, which is true to an extent. But when we're talking about our lives and our eternal destiny of our souls, I think we need to do more than that. And so that's what I ended up encouraging him to do, and shared a little bit about my faith. I don't feel like I could get much further than that. So anyway, pray for this man, and maybe I'll speak to him again in the park one day. So I wish maybe we can continue the conversation then. All right, tell me what you thought, and speak to you again. God bless. Do you have any faith? Do you have any belief, any religion?
I think it's a really interesting question. So I think as I've got older, I've got more spiritual. I don't think I have a particular faith that I practice, but I think I probably align more with like Buddhism.
Buddhism.
Yeah.
Okay. You said as you got older, is that something like? Did you start with something? Did you grow up in a family that was more or less religious, or?
I think my family was less religious, definitely.
Okay.
But my ex-partner was Buddhist, or is Buddhist, I should say. And I learned a lot from him. He would talk about lots of different religions and faiths, and I think Buddhism just sat with me more.
Got it. And do you like actively, what does it mean for you, Buddhism? Do you actively practice? Do you study it? Do you pursue it? How does that sort of look like?
So I think for me it looks more like letting go and allowing every day just to happen as it is, and to be more present and to practice mindfulness and to have gratitude and just be thankful for the things that we have in our everyday life. Yeah. So I don't actively practice it maybe as much as some other people, but I just try to make it a consideration that I have in my daily choices.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair. The kind of the way you chose to describe it, is it Buddhism? Like, is it, or could you just say, look, you're just trying to maybe be a bit more mindful, a bit more open, aware? Because I think Buddhism kind of really does have, like, I don't know, doctrines and things that like about it says certain things about ascribing to certain ideals and nirvana and all those kind of things. Do you go that far? Do you go that deep, or do you just sort of like just take the pieces from it that kind of make sense to you?
I'd say I definitely take the pieces that make sense to me, because I'm still learning about it and other religions as well. I think I try to take the bits of across multiple different faiths that I find align with me.
I see. I see. So interesting. You mentioned other faiths. Have you done any much of looking into other faiths like Christianity, Islam, Judaism, anything like that?
A little, but probably not enough to have a full depth conversation about it.
Yeah.
But I think something that I've been looking more into recently is like reincarnation.
Okay.
So I was listening to a podcast recently on past lives, reincarnation, and like near-death experiences, and spirituality come up quite a lot in that.
Yeah, it does. And if you were to sort of just thinking about it, like, I guess the question is, I know Buddhism sort of doesn't necessarily believe in a God per se. Correct me if I'm wrong, you maybe know more about this than I do, but like a lot of the big religions would believe in a God, a creator God, a God who is sort of made all of this sort of that we look at, that we see. He made it, right? Would you say there is such a God, or where do you stand on that?
I probably don't know enough about the topic, to be honest, but I think that everyone can believe what they choose to believe for their particular faith, and there may be a God, there may be multiple gods, or there may be no God. But I don't really know enough about the topic to be able to answer that anymore. I'm sorry.
No problem. Yeah, because I think, would it make a difference, right? Let's say if you put yourself maybe in a position that somehow you could know for sure that there is a God, and not just like a distant one that is just sort of out there and maybe kind of like a watchmaker, kind of winds the clock and let it sort of run, but like someone who's actually in some sort of way of knowing us and us knowing him. Would that make any difference to you? Like, would it be, oh wow, okay, and then I'd like to kind of know who he is and what he wants and that kind of stuff?
It feels quite reassuring that maybe there's someone there that could pick up the pieces, or I could talk to at one point in my life and reflect back and see where I maybe went wrong, or the things I did good, or maybe kindness that I gave someone, and maybe that person is then seeing those things that I've done, and I can talk to them about it at some point. So it feels reassuring that, in a way, maybe a father figure or a parental figure of some sort to guide you.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair. That would be reassuring. Well, sometimes with the parental figures or father figures, we often first thing we think about is the positives, right? The care, the love, the looking after, the guidance that we receive from such figures. But sometimes there's also the discipline aspect of it, right? And so I was going to ask you about, do you believe in such a thing as a sin? And sort of if there is a sin, if there is a God who cares about sin, that he would actually care about that aspect of our lives. And you kind of mentioned a little bit about kind of where you went wrong and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's what you meant, kind of sin.
I think that if there is a God, then he would be all loving, and regardless of any mistakes that we've made, that we have the opportunity in our lives to be able to rectify that and change that, and to give others kindness.
Sure. And I guess where I was going with that is that if there is a God and he kind of knows us because he created us, he knows what is best for us, right? Because he knows us better than we know ourselves, potentially, right? And so he would say, look, do this, but stay away from doing that, or don't do that. That ultimately is kind of the basis of our morality, right? Because as much as would be interested what you sort of, do you agree with that or not? But as much as we get our learning from our parents and from the society, there are some gray areas, right? And there's the cases in which who decides,
I suppose we decide, really, because we have free will.
Yeah.
And we can make our own choices about how the paths that we take, and how we want to interact with others or our environment, and what we do in life. And maybe there is someone somewhere in some plane of existence that we can talk to about it at some point in our lives, or maybe not. But I think ultimately we have the freedom to make our own choice, and hopefully those are the right choices.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I think this is where I can see what you're saying, but I think if there was a God and if he created us, I think he would probably want to say something about what is good for us. And I think, knowing about myself, I may not agree with all those things, right? Because I think there's the things about, if I think about myself, like, okay, for me, the best thing right now would be, I'm just taking a sort of ridiculous example, is to eat my face in a bucket of ice cream, right? I mean, because that just seems very
sounds fun,
pleasant, and it's a warm day, and it'll be very, very good. But it may not be the think for me longer run, right? Because I don't know, get diabetes or whatever it is, right? So I think there's a sense in which we think we know, because it pleases us, it gives us certain sense of maybe importance, power, whatever it is, but yet someone might come along and says, no, actually that's not good for you for these reasons, right? That's what I think, that's if there is a God, he might come in and say, actually don't murder, don't steal, honor your parents, love one another. And I think sometimes we can sort of say, well, that's kind of obvious, isn't it? But maybe it is. But then it gets to, like I said, gray areas, right? And so that's where we sort of tend to kind of err maybe on the side of, okay, what's making sense to me, but not necessarily asking him if he exists, you know, what would he think about that? Yeah.
Very existential questions.
Maybe, yeah. How about this, right? So I'm coming more from my background is I'm kind of really open to people's obviously faiths and beliefs, and this is the point of this discussion, is just to see where people are. But I personally come more from a Christian background, right? How much have you looked into that? Like, if I ask you about like the person of Jesus, do you think he was a historical person? Do you think he was real? Does he matter to this world, or what do you think about that?
If I'm honest, I don't know enough about it. Okay. I honestly don't know. I'd like to believe that everyone is free to make the choices that they want, to be able to believe whatever they want, and that we live in this free society to be able to express those things. But I honestly don't know enough about it to comment. Sorry.
Sure. I appreciate that. And I think I agree. There is a freedom, and I think even God, if he exists, he gave us freedom. It's obvious, right? Not everyone believes in the same thing. People believe in different things. I think it's almost by definition. I think we have the freedom. The question is, which one is true, right? Because not all of them say the same thing, right? And that's why there are multiple religions. You know, Christianity says this, Islam says that, Buddhism says something else. Do you think it's worth kind of seeking after which one is true? And how would you, if you were like to get serious about it, like where would you start? What would be your criteria for what is true, what is not? I know something you mentioned already, but yeah.
So, I mean, Buddhism talks about two truths, and that my truth is my truth and your truth is your truth, and that there is no wrong, really. So I can't say that one religion is correct and another one is not, because they're all right in their own way.
But maybe I'm too Western for my sort of thinking, but like logically, right? Logically, if we have, Buddhism would say, just to take maybe an example, correct me if I'm wrong, like there is no God, right? And Christianity would say, actually, there is a God. He comes in a triune, three persons. We can know him through three persons: the Father, the Son, the Spirit. Actually, the Son came into this earth. He walked the earth 2,000 years ago. He died on the cross for our sins to purchase us, to bring us into eternity with him, into heaven. And those who reject him and who continue in sin, they will go to hell. There is no reincarnation. This is it. This is the life that we have. And in the end, there will be judgment, heaven or hell. That's opposed to reincarnation, for example. So we have, claims that different religions are making, and we can be freely believing those different claims, but it cannot be that there can be both true at the same time. There is either reincarnation or there is no reincarnation. There either is a God or there isn't a God. And we can go on, right? That's why we have these different religions. Yeah. I mean, so do you think it's important to try to make sense and to try to sort of be certain about what is the truth?
I'm probably I disagree a little bit with the certainty.
Okay.
I feel like we live in a culture where we want so much certainty, and we demand yes, this is fact, or this is not fact, or this is 100%, this is not 100%. I quite like the idea of no certainty and the unknown. I think that makes it more reassuring, and I'm able to, or maybe other people are able to then explore different ideas because of not having that certainty. Do you know what I mean?
To an extent, I think it's a good maybe defensive kind of way mechanism. I think that helps, but isn't that a little bit, and forgive me for using the word, but like naive, as in like I can be pretend, this is again ridiculous example, but I can pretend there is no gravity and I can try to walk on the roof to the edge and just sort of step off and kind of saying, well, there's some uncertainty, maybe there is gravity, maybe there isn't, and then we have the quantum theory, and maybe I'll reappear somewhere else in the universe. There's a chance for that as well, but look, I'm just gonna step up, but hey, actually I'm just gonna die and just splatter on the floor, right? Because physics is physics, and actually I'm going to just be pulled down by my weight and end up dead. So I guess uncertainty is great to an extent, but there are certain aspects of life they're like, okay, you need to kind of need to put your weight on something, because your life is at stake, right? So if it is our eternal souls that are in stake, and if it's a difference between heaven and hell, I guess that is worth having some assurance, some certainty, even if not now, just maybe kind of figure out how we get there. Maybe, you think?
I don't know.
You don't know.
If I ever get there, I'll let you know.
Well, I think that was, maybe I'm just speaking maybe from, appreciate people come from different perspectives, but I appreciate, so I'm sharing maybe how I'm seeing things, because I think when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to like matters of life and death, I'd like to kind of know a little bit more than 50-50 chance. Which one is it? Yeah, did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? And if I don't know now, that's fine, but how will I find out? And so for me, the journey was trying to find that out, maybe like, 15 years ago, kind of seeking it out, specifically about Christianity, this guy Jesus, the Bible. Could it be trusted? Could it be true? Is it historical? How do we know? Well, what about Islam? It says something different. And Judaism and Buddhism, how would we know? How would we go about figuring that out? And so, to me, it was important enough to sort of say, hey, I'm gonna invest some time, I'm gonna invest some thought into this stuff, and then see where it goes. Yeah. So
good luck on your journey.
Thank you. No, thank you. I also I appreciate we're all on journey. I think you've said it well. I think I say all the best to you on your journey as well. I would just encourage you not to let it go of asking the questions. I think questions are important, and I think you do have curiosity. I'm not mistaken there, right? You have curiosity to ask the questions, and you said even you're going to find out about certain things. But I would just encourage you to do that. I think it's important. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you again so much for your time and for your honesty. So beautiful day. So I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Awesome.